Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the LA Sevens. This one, New Zealand taking on the USA. Now, New Zealand were able to get themselves a victory over Canada in their first match of the competition, whereas USA, they were also able to get themselves a victory, and that was over the Blitz box, which was an absolutely massive one for them to get underway. Now, looking through at New Zealand starting lineup, it will be Amanaki Nicole, Tony Nshu, finds himself in that starting lineup. Akula Rokalisoa, Lewis Ormond was a bit of a new name there in the lineup compared to the previous ones that we have seen for New Zealand over the last few legs of the Sevens. Caleb Tangitau, he was brilliant in the last match up against Canada, using his size and strength to break through the line. Regan Ware at number 9 and Joe Weber then at number 11. So that is the starting lineup for the Kiwis. Then for the USA, it will be Steve Thomasin, Joe Schroeder, who scored a try in that first match up against the Springboks. David Still, who is looking extrememely strong down the wing, having plenty of pace and the power to match. He also was able to run and one for that first contest. Falau Nuia is there. Then also it is Naima I always mess up his name. Fualao is his name, and he is going to be in that starting lineup for the USA. Isdale and Lucas LeCamp is the other man. So no Perry Baker in the starting lineup. Instead, he will be coming off the bench for the US alongside Maceo Brown, Gavin Diamore. They are missing quite a few of their big men who they would have loved to have in this lineup, such as Devon Williams, going to be unavailable for this contest. Also, Carlin Isles still missing from injury. Cool Bros has said hello, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Morning, says Nathan. I hope you guys are all doing extremely well. It is 7:47 a.m. here in New Zealand. We have not slept yet. We are just about on the verge of being up for about 20 hours or so. But there is still plenty of sevens coming. We have still got another 6 live streams after this one. Currently, USA and Canada going head-to-head. It's a nice salad of dummy from the Canadians. I believe it is the man with the flowing mullet, whose name I've actually forgotten, but I know that his mullet is one of the best in the game. Looking at New Zealand's bench, a couple of the players to watch out for. Che Clark, he actually had his debut on the World Sevens circuit. He did play in the Commonwealth Games, but he did miss out on any of the legs. Now, Ronnie McGarvey Black going to be good to have there. Kurt Baker bringing up his 50th tournament for the Kiwis, and also Sione Mulia was one of the Kiwi co-captains. So the game between the Australians, the South Africans and Canada is just about over. Canada were very close in that game, so points differential could massively come into play. But New Zealand, they will want to win this game if they want to help secure themselves a spot in the quarterfinals. Hi, Amish. Hi, Nathan. Says David the Mole. Good morning, mate. Did you manage to get any sleep overnight, or did you end up staying up for most of the most of the hours of the darkness? I think it's almost, it's bright outside now, so we have stayed up all night. Now we are rearing to go for another match of the sevens, with South Africa beating Canada 22 points to 17. Do let me know your score predictions for this contest in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. I would say New Zealand by 3. That's the lie. I'll go New Zealand by 5. But I could easily see it being USA by 10, because Canada have been pushing a few sides in this competition, one of which was New Zealand in their first game, whereas the USA, they did seem to be able to relatively comfortably breeze past South Africa in their game as well. So I believe the end score in that game between USA and South Africa was 19 points to 5 or 19 points to 7, USA by 12, says Lawrence. Also a very decent shout, really, for the USA. If they get it going early on with David Still, Joe Schroeder using that size, New Zealand by 40 plus, says Spider-Meek. Although this is the USA side that were just able to beat the Blitz box a little bit earlier on. And also New Zealand by 7, says Sebastian. And my man doing overtime from 15s to 7, says Abiel. And we even threw in some cricket in between and bit of sleep. I just watched also the replay of Nick White milking that penalty. They got Faf yellow carded. So yeah, that was one. It has made Nick White certainly one of the most unpopular men in the world of rugby today. Zach Foster says inked up. There's one of those little vans that deliver the match ball just almost took out the ankle of Joe Schroeder. That would have been a devastating maneuver if it did break the ankle of Schroeder for the little DHL van. But Ruben Keane going to be in charge of this one, the Australian referee. LA Sevens, it's looking like an absolutely beautiful day there. It's relatively hot It looks like there are plenty of costumes there in the crowd getting fired up for their opportunity to host the Sevens. The New Year's Sevens has actually been announced with where all of the leagues are taking place. There are some quite awesome locations, including one in New Zealand. But now the USA, they will be kicking off this first half up against New Zealand. Now, New Zealand, they know that they need a win here because or else then South Africa may be able to leapfrog them. Same with the USA. This is all or nothing for both of these sides, and it's nicely taken straight away by, I believe it was Amanaki Nicole, to grab that one and take it down. Now, Rokalisoa goes across to Weber. Backline opening up straight away for the Kiwis, and it's a good run forward from Lewis Ormond. Got plenty of size to him. Rokalisoa is to try and run straight over the top of the referee, slightly impeding his gap that he was looking for. Tony and Shu might be looking for this one relatively soon. That was Regan Ware, though, out on the wing. He did recently get a new haircut for the Sevens. He used to have the beard and the dreads, and now he's got extra pace going for Regan Ware. He scored pretty quickly, and that was actually by Thomasine, who was able to get over it. Now trying to go for the counter ruck, and it's a penalty to New Zealand. Nick White worried about his facial. And also that Nick White just did remind me of what the ABs of old, or reminded me of the ABs of old. You just got to do what it takes to win, says Nick. That was a knock on. Oh, sorry, that wasn't Nick. That was David, and big love, David. Imagine having your tournament cut short by a bloody toy. Yeah, the sponsors. I mean, that's the thing. The sponsors also wouldn't be happy in that scenario, but the ball just getting ripped out of the hands of Amanaki Nicole as he went down the wing. Disappointing for New Zealand not be able to run in for the first try of this contest. But the USA now, they're going to be having a defensive scrum only 5 meters out from their own line. Certainly going to be plenty of pressure on. I should mention the next game that we are covering on the channel, I want to say, is Samoa versus Scotland. That's going to be a big contest. Now Nui passes back across. Lucas LeCamp tries to get those legs pumping. Schroeder goes across now. This is nice from the USA. Thomasine accelerates. In fact, no, sorry, that was the number 8. And there, Esdale. Now Schroeder, bit of a rough pass, and it's a knock on by the USA. He's disappointed as well. Thomasine, not the pass that he wanted. David the Mod talking about Andy Hayden, right? Says Spider Meg, but 5 minutes left in this first half. Thomasine disappointed. Stop moving the bloody robot. Stuart Broad during the age of 2021, 2022. It was a great tour, wasn't it? Other than like the result-wise, like in terms of the atmosphere, I should say, like Stuart Broad picking a fight with a random robot, and then the robot put the headband on. It was the love story of the summer for the English cricket team. Stuart Broad and a robot. That's going to be the penalty to New Zealand now. Believe it, Nui just got that one a little bit wrong. Trying to put pressure on Rokalisoa. Wasn't effective. And the penalty goes the way of New Zealand. But USA, if you're New Zealand, you've got to be worried about David Still and also Perry Baker coming off the bench. Those two are impossible to stop once they start getting going. It's a great grubber there. Tony and Shu. It sits up for him, and he does get the ball down. Tony and Shu does put the thumbs up. That is actually throwing a marsh to Kurt Baker. We actually saw that celebration earlier on from Caleb Tangitau, and the reason they go like that is because that is exactly what Kurt Baker has done. Can't lie, mate. Could have been a better series, says Sebastian. And also, he was an example. Sean Fitzpatrick was another, says David the Mod, and also try New Zealand, says Sebastian. But yeah, it's set up beautifully for Tony Ashu, and puts it down, scores the try, and gives the double thumbs up. And also try with the Kieran. And there says David the Mod. That kick has gone over from Rokalisoa, and the Kiwis now find themselves sitting 7-0 up over the USA. 3.5 minutes left still of this first half. Plenty of time, and we have talked about it in the past. 21 points is normally enough of a deficit to keep you out of a game in sevens. That was a really bad play from Lucas LeCamp. That was maybe a little bit of inexperience there. It didn't go the 10, but he let it hit his feet. So because of that, it counts as being played at. And now Tony Ashu makes his way close to the 22-meter line. One back by Lucas LeCamp, though. He's done nicely. And now on the short side, great step on the inside from Esdale. But yeah, I guess LeCamp, that's probably the first mistake he's actually made in this whole series, to be fair. He's been very solid over the last little while. David still no. In fact, Thomasine got hit with the high shot from Caleb Tangitau. I think Thomasine was giving him a little bit of lip afterwards as well. Tangitau just not breaking his gaze. Now, Nuia looks like he is going to be kicking this one for the touchline. USA plenty of time in this first half in front of a home crowd who would certainly love to see the USA get up over the New Zealanders. Tangitau just, ended up a little bit too high around the chest region. He did initially look like he was going for the ball, but then it just rode up to net. So that is going to be a penalty every day of the week against New Zealand. USA now, though, about to be thrown in. And I wish they had Devon Williams. I feel like that man would have been a game changer for them multiple times. There's another advantage now for the USA. Lucas Lecamp almost going through, and it goes back now for the penalty in favour of the USA. That is actually for taking the player out in the year against New Zealand. Another Hamish and Malo Kiwi lads for the hard works during the weekend, says King Toa. No worries at all. We have got plenty more coming as well. We have still got another 6 games of sevens that we are covering this morning. And then after that, we have got tomorrow night, the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and the finals are going to be all covered on the channel as well. So the live ladder would have New Zealand in first, USA in second. Their points differential is very handy at the moment for the USA compared to South Africa, which is why that last game between New Zealand and South Africa is going to be probably a deciding factor for one of those two sides to go through. Now the USA going to be charging forward. Davis, still great carry. Tries to run over the top of Joe Weber, diving through the middle now. Schroeder goes off wide. Caleb Tangitau. It's going to be Thomasine, maybe held up by Rockali Soa. They're going to have to go upstairs to check this one. AB's lost big time. Thanks to Foster, says Spider-Man. And could the ABs or the All Blacks lost last night be attributed to Hamish wearing a hoodie and not a suit and tie? Always respect the opposition, Hamish, says Stephen. Although you will remember, Stephen, if you watch the live stream, I was wearing the suit and tie, but it is nice to know that you didn't check in with that one, I guess, before the match. But yeah, I did end up wearing the suit and tie for the All Blacks versus Pumas and Wallabies versus Springboks in both of those games. It's going to be a 5-metre scrum, though. Thomasine, that was close to getting it down, but wasn't quite able to do so in the end. And also, hi, Kingi To'o, says David the Mod. So I believe this will become a 5-metre scrum. And that is one thing that Sevens does a lot better than Union is if a team is on hot attack, it is still going to be all. Okay, Rockali Soa has actually been called for a high shot. So it's going to be no try. It's a high tackle to stop a probable try. It's a yellow card. So you'd have to argue if it's a probable try, is it not a penalty try? And yes, he is running over to between the sticks. And it is going to be the penalty try to the USA. Now, Thomasini was tackled too high by Rockali Soa. And also, I hate to be in Fozzie's shoes right now, says David the Mod. Oh, okay, so straight away, the coach of the USA did call it. And he said that it was a high shot. So now New Zealand, they have got a man disadvantage for the next minute and 30 seconds, and alongside that, it will be 15 seconds left of this first half. Oh, time back on. And good morning, Hamish. Have you the winners of Rugby 7, says Kevin. So at the moment, it is sitting at, I would say, New Zealand have a decent... Oh, they took too long, the USA. So it's taken more than the 30 seconds, so it now becomes a scrum in favour of New Zealand. But yeah, New Zealand sitting at the top of their group currently as the live ladder was sitting, but now it will change a little bit. We've seen some good performances from Samoa. Also, alongside that, we have seen Canada actually doing not too badly, although they haven't been able to make their way too high up. And ouch rough, says Sebastian. And yeah, I stand corrected. I guess we can't use that as an excuse, says Stephen. Yeah, we were just outplayed. Like Argentina were a very strong side. The All Blacks, they dropped the ball a lot. They gave away way too many penalties. And yeah, Argentina, they certainly deserved it. Nice run there from Regan Ware, trying to redeem the Kiwis. We did see Argentina beat Spain, I should say. Oh, trying to take the quick tap for Caleb Tangitau. New Zealand, they're playing with a man disadvantage, although it does seem like they still have space on the outside if they do get a right nice ball on the inside to Tony Nyashu. Now passes off. Only a couple meters out from the line. Amanaki Nicole. That looked like a net roll. But it looks like they are going to be playing on just for now. Joe Weber tries to go around. He has slipped, and it's going back for another penalty in favour of New Zealand. I was so furious at Rocks for Tea. I only came back down to earth because our Black Ferns won theirs. And yeah, that was even quite a close game as well. Go over the ball there. Neuer tried to turn it over. Joe Weber got it back. Schroeder. No, it's Thomasine now trying to turn the ball over. Firing it wide. 1-on-1 down on the wing. Going for the corner. I don't know whether he got there. But if he has managed to do so, Lewis Orman, that will be a massive finish for the Kiwis. Did he get it down? He had to reach out big time. Lucky he has got long arms. And he's got it. He's got it as well. And also, you sound like you are Kiwi, says Tamahe. I am indeed. Yeah, we have been up all night. We did the Rugby Championship yesterday. Then we did a little bit of South Africa versus England in the cricket. That was at 2 a.m. Or actually, sorry, 1 a.m. till 2:40 a.m. And then from 4:20 a.m. onwards, we have been doing multiple matches of the Sevens. So it's been a lot of fun. And surely Foster has to go now, says Max, only if New Zealand Rugby are willing to actually pay him out. Because he's not going to resign. Because he would lose money. And he's not getting another coaching role. Weber, he shanked it. So that is going to be sitting 12 points to 7 at halftime now between these two teams. And it's going to be a close second half. A lot of these games today, actually, now that I think about it for the Sevens, with an exception of a couple such as Argentina versus Spain, Australia versus Japan, etc., a lot of these games have been extremely close at halftime, and anyone's game for the taking in the second. I got so sad last night for the All Blacks, says Tamahe. Although I think it was absolutely incredible for Argentina. It was a great moment for them, a moment that will be remembered for a long time. The All Blacks didn't play well. They didn't deserve to win, and hopefully next week we do see a little bit more fight from the ABs, and they can try and turn it around. But they are just talking to Saviwe Soya's Wapi, the South African captain, defeated Canada 22 points to 17, and Foster finds himself in the Hawke's Bay area. We can turn to Agent 47. Take care of him, says Sebastian. Have you got that game, Sebastian? Because that could be another one we could try playing perhaps outside of the cricket. Because you can do like a split screen thingamabob, can't you? If I'm not wrong. Okay, so Saviwe Soya's Wapi. I think you were saying that they don't talk about the fact they got beaten by the USA. You just move on after that one. And good job to Pablo Matera. Yeah, exactly right. Coming back to Christchurch after playing there for the Crusaders throughout Super Rugby Pacific. Coming back and getting that awesome win for the Boomers. What was your thoughts on the ABs? They have lost 3 consecutive games at home for the first time in the history, says Max. Their handling has been shocking, to say the very least. And also alongside that, the penalties that they're conceding about 14 penalties per game, which in no regard up against a side like the Pumas, who love taking 3-pointers, are you going to be able to keep up with them no matter how many scores or how many tries you manage to score? You finish the Hitman trilogy, says Sebastian. See, I think I'm only up to Hitman 2. I haven't played Hitman 3. It's another game that I bought. Did I? Yeah, no, I might have bought it early. No, I didn't. I waited a little bit to a sale, but then I still bought it. Me live in New Zealand, says Tamahe, and well done, Pablo Escamar. Says Nathan, but currently 5 points difference between these two sides, up to the 22 now for the USA. Nui goes wide now, 1-on-1. Thomasine has been taken down by Caleb Tangitau. Tries to consider stripping the ball. It almost became a penalty. It does pop out the back now. Perry Baker, what can he do with it? He's just thrown it to no one. Lewis LeCamp has to jump on it, or Lucas LeCamp, sorry. Now it's on the side of the Kiwis. It's a knock on as well. Around the side, Rokali Sawa. He slides over. And that is going to be the try. Oh, and he's had a bit of a go at one of the players as well. A little bit of push and shove between these sides. Tensions are running hot. Believe that was for the little bit of a late challenge that we saw from Esdale. So I think Rokalisoa jumped straight on him. And it wasn't happy at all. Why take Takiaho off? He's in 80 minutes. If Cody Taylor throw was straight, it could have been a try. So we will see Rokalisoa. He goes down. Yeah, just a little bit of a cheap shot from Esdale there, which is why Rokalisoa was frustrated. And like these videos says, Tamahe and high in there as well. Welcome in. And also well done, Cody Dweber-Taylor. He buried the ABs with that late line out. And then they decided to give Stephen Perafeta 40 seconds to come out there and not touch the ball. Who's the top 3 in the overall standings up till now, says Jake. So currently in the top 3 for the whole 7 circuit, South Africa in first, Australia in second, and Argentina in third. All of those sides can still go on to win the competition. And it all comes down to how they go in the near future. Yeah, Rockily Sol was not too happy with Esdale there. And that is why there was a bit of a push and a shove, but New Zealand now leading this game, 19 points to 7. It bounces back onto the AB side. Now, if they win this game, you would have to say theoretically they should be safe from being demoted, unless, of course, South Africa absolutely destroy them. And yeah, it was more of a piss take than a debut for Stephen. And yeah, it was a shame. We talked about it on the post-match review as well. It just didn't seem right. Like 40 seconds left, you just go, right, we didn't give him a crack this week. We'll give him a crack next week instead so that he can have a decent-sized debut rather than one that you know he's not going to actually get the ball. Caleb Tangitau with the step as well. He's going through. He hasn't been ankle tapped, and he's put the ball down for the Kiwis, and now they start to extend their lead by just a little bit more. And also 40 seconds for our boy Stevie Perafeta. And Takiaho would have got that last line out try. Just bring him in for the throw, says Max. And also, what time is it, says Tamahe. Currently, there are only 4 minutes left on the clock here for the Kiwis. And did inviting Pablo Matera to play the Crusaders hurt the All Blacks, says Stephen? I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, they knew how much of a class player Pablo Matera was, and they would have rather had him playing in New Zealand, attracting the Argentine audience, than having him play somewhere else and have them look elsewhere. And what is the USA points difference, says Lawrence. I will have a quick look, see how it is sitting. I know that before the match, they were sitting at -7. No, they might have been sitting at +7, sorry, after their win over the South Africans. So they will currently be sitting at about maybe about a -15. And check a second player, what a laugh. And there's Spadamik and Mwanga. Was useless. He missed a couple. How many did he miss, says Max Cottle? He missed a few. Richie Mwanga, of course. Unfortunately, he didn't quite get them right. And yay, says Tamahe. And hi, Sebastian, says Brandon. But it kind of took away the point of having Geordie Barrett in the lineup if you're going to go with Mwanga's kicking no matter what. Other than there was one really long one that they gave to Geordie Barrett, which I don't think really had much of a chance of going over. Anyway, you might as well put Will Jordan at 15 if you're going to do that. And also, big love, Brandon, says Sebastian. And there's a great call, Hamish, says David the Mod. Right. 3 minutes left in this contest as well for anyone wondering the time. New Zealand currently sitting with a very nice lead of 19 points, maybe just enough to get them through. Diamore making his way out onto the field. Same with Maceo Brown. Who do you think, Clark or Leicester next week? I think they'll still go Caleb Clark. He did enough, I feel, to keep his spot. If I was going to have Leicester in there, I might even consider him at 13. But, of course, I'm not the coach, so I don't get to make those decisions. But I think Rieko Ioane, don't know. He had a couple interesting situations in that game. Seemed like he was too busy thinking about scoring tries himself than thinking about the team, which is the last thing you want. Maccabi Black goes through. Oh, is he limping? No, he's not. He's doing the thumbs up to the crowd. I thought for a second he was kind of galloping as if he had some sort of calf injury, and Australia versus South Africa was cool too. Yeah, very good game of rugby. And very similar, I guess you could say, with the overall, I guess, structure of what we saw for the New Zealand and Argentina game. Very similar layouts. One side had a lot of penalties against them. One side had a lot of handling errors. And Caleb Clark wasn't too bad. Well, Jordan was wasted on the wing. Exactly right. I feel like all I know is right wing is not the place for Will Jordan. As much as they like to keep him out there, you might as well have him come off the bench for the last 20 and at least play him where he should be playing. And Christopher Hamish, what do you think? The All Blacks doing not right handling errors and penalties conceded. I think them are two big ones. They certainly need to work on those two aspects before their next week's game against Argentina. But 2 minutes left of this match is going to be taken nicely by Thomasin, tackled by Che Clark. You know, winning back-to-back Webb Ellis in 2011 and 2015. Aren't you guys bored of winning? Plates full, let others enjoy, says Nathan. And did you see Marika running into Mapimpi yesterday? I did, and he covered a lot of ground to get there for Marika Korombede. It's going to be the penalty to the USA. 1 minute 30 left on the clock now. Thomasin takes the quick tap. Goes across. Nui gets the flat ball. In fact, sorry, it's actually Unufi. So they're very similar. They've both got the headgear on. They've both got the long hair. There's only half a little bit of a difference. I believe the commentators were talking about it before the difference. And where we're going from here, the world is laughing at us, says Spider-Meek. Well, I think catching the ball would certainly help at this stage. Nice run from Diamore. 1 minute left in this one. Perry Baker, this hasn't been going the way of the US, but they might be able to increase their points differential if they do get this one right. Lewis LeCamp. In fact, it's Maceo Brown down on the wing, I believe, replacing Lucas LeCamp. Now having to pass it back across Thomasine, whipping it to Perry Baker. Goes for the chip and chase Baker. Oh, they've just been able to stop him from 5 meters out. He considered getting up and going again. Brilliant tackle made by the number 13 for New Zealand. Unable to turn it over now. Perry Baker goes himself, and he will score the try with 30 seconds left on the clock. They still have time, the USA. And wasted Will Jordan, and who's going to win the Rugby Championship at the moment? I mean, Argentina are probably in the best form out of any side in that competition. Because I was talking about it, how every team seems to be going like this at the moment. Whereas Argentina, they went down and then they went up and up again. So they are probably the informed side. And sit back and watch the world come and play, says Nathan. And also we have got there Argentina going to win the Rugby Championship, or Australia and Ireland and Argentina Rugby World Cup 2023 final. Perry Baker, world-class lad, and definitely we need a good coach. Coach. I almost read that as couch, and I was thinking the same thing for myself. I'm sitting on this chair, and I still need to get that new one. I've got a cushion on the bottom, but it's not quite doing the job. The back's probably going to be broken tomorrow. Not quite broken, of course. New Zealand, they have that ball. They will kick it into touch, and that will be the end of the game. New Zealand have decided that they're better off having that points differential than risking it and allowing the USA back into the contest. So that score now 33 points to 12 at the end of full time. So the next game that we are going to be covering, it will be Samoa versus Scotland. And that one is going to be kicking off at 8:30 a.m. New Zealand time. So we have got from now, okay, they're running a little bit behind. So it might be 8:35, in fact, that one does start. Have a nice meal of KFC today, says Kevin. So yeah, we have got a little bit later on. Need a gaming chair, Hamish. I do have one, but it's weird. It almost leans back too far. So it just doesn't quite work because you kind of feel like you're about to fall asleep all the time. As there's a group match or a knockout still in the group matches. So that will certainly help New Zealand to be top of their pool. And the next game between South Africa and New Zealand, it will be all on the line for South Africa to try and make sure that they do get the victory. But like I mentioned, Samoa versus Scotland going to be coming up at about 8:35 New Zealand time. So do not miss that one. So it is going to be an absolutely awesome one. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you all in a very short moment.